astrology lovers, and welcome to February in the great year of 2024. What a year 2024 is going to be. When we reduce down the numbers, 2 plus 2 plus 0 plus 4, we get the number 8. And 8 in astrology is representative of the 8th house of Scorpio, and Scorpio's rulers, Mars and Pluto. Currently, Mars is the ruler of the North Node in Aries, and the nodes in astrology represent our collective evolutionary impulses along with the planet Pluto. Pluto, as you probably know by now, has moved into Aquarius, where it will spend most of 2024. It'll dip back a little bit into Capricorn before it firmly parks itself into Aquarius until 2043. So this is a year marked by power. Changes in power, power struggles, empowerment, disempowerment, all of those kinds of topics, along with rebirth moments, phoenix moments. This will be a year that we remember for a long time. So let's dive into February 2024. Hi, I'm Nikki from Illuminated Movement Astrology, here to shine light on astrological topics so that you can get some clarity and confidence in how to use them in your own life. And as we said, February is going to be quite a month. So we're immersed right now in Aquarius energy, right? We've got just this surge. I don't know if you can feel it, but I feel like a race car that's just been given like a punch of nitrous and is ready to go, right? With all of this change happening and the movement into so much emphasis on Aquarius energy. So what's going to happen is the personal planets now are going to be moving into Aquarius. And as they do that, Mercury, Venus, and Mars are going to also conjunct Pluto when they come into Aquarius. And that's going to give us quite a bit of transformative energy in those areas as well. Remember, I've talked about this before, but the Jupiter-Saturn synodic cycle, the social planetary cycle of 20 years, is also in Aquarius right now. So we've got Aquarius on top of Aquarius for the next about 16 years. But with Pluto and Aquarius, it'll extend out a little further. So as these planets are coming in, they're also going to be making squares to Jupiter and Uranus, who are both sitting patiently in Taurus. Now, these squares might flow a little bit easier because Uranus happens to be one of the rulers of Aquarius. So all the things you've been working on actualizing, of building, of visioning, the changes that you're making internally, it might be easier to move forward with those things now instead of just feeling kind of stuck. At least we'll hope for that, right? So let's look at where the month starts off. On February the 4th, Mercury enters Aquarius and conjuncts Pluto. So it may be easier to see where to go and what to do as our intellect will be expanded in Aquarius, okay? Pluto here is also going to help reveal some information that either was hidden or we couldn't see or has been secretive for some reason. And this may prove to be very helpful in allowing us to move on as well. Now, remember, Mercury rules the mind. It also, with Uranus, has to do with the nervous system. And so we're going to have to take a little extra care with our nervous system, with our mind, and making sure that we're not letting our mind just run away with things. On February the 6th, Venus, while still in Capricorn, is going to make an important square to the nodes. Now, when a planet squares the node, it brings extra attention because when planets are hitting up against that evolutionary impulse, we're being asked to revisit old ground in some way. Hopefully, we can make adjustments this time with where we have new knowledge and choose potentially a different path or an outcome. And in doing so, we help our evolutionary growth, okay, in big ways. And this particular transit, we had Mercury squaring the nodes in January. We also had Mars, and now Venus is following suit. So this is really a great time for us to hopefully be able to heal from some potential heartbreaks or feeling like we couldn't self-actualize or take action in some way on our behalf. It also is a great time to heal the brain, heart, right? Heart-mind coherence during this triple transit. Moving on from here, we've got the new moon in Aquarius. 20 degrees Aquarius on February the 9th. Now, this new moon is the first one that we will have with Pluto also being in Aquarius. It marks the Lunar New Year. So this is a reminder that we need to get comfortable with surprises and the unexpected, because this new moon is also square to our friend Uranus, who's sitting in Taurus. And Uranus and Taurus has hopefully helped us get a little bit more comfortable with changing things we thought were once stable. Okay, this is a reminder that Uranus is also one of the planets that rules Aquarius. And so we're going to have a lot of changes coming our way for quite some time. Now, let's talk about Aquarius a little bit. Aquarius itself sometimes feels a little bit self-contradictory, right? Because we're talking about big visions, we're talking about innovations, we're talking about social changes, and all these kinds of topics that make it seem like Aquarius would be very flexible and very adaptive. When in fact, Aquarius, we have to remember, is a fixed air sign. Fixed signs like to maintain, right? That's their job, is to bring things to an apex and hold them there. And so Aquarius is not known for its flexibility, potentially on the surface, but we're going to have to be willing to challenge what we might have thought, right? To bring in these other ideas so that we can truly experience the harmony of freedom and liberation and be able to stabilize those concepts as well. So one of the keys is going to be making changes on your terms, right? And what do I mean by that? So making changes on your terms, if you choose to engage with changes, you choose to engage in expanding your mindset, you choose to expand who you might have, congregated with or thought of as a friend, you're going to experience more expansion. And because you're choosing it, it's on your terms. See? Simple and not simple, right? All right, moving on. Mars entering Aquarius. That's going to happen on the 12th. And again, it's moving into 0 degrees, so it's smack right up against Pluto. A few days later, Venus is going to follow suit. So that's on the 16th of February. Same thing, smack right up against Pluto. And so there's an unmistakable highlight on relationships right now. It may be easier to find new relationships, whether they're romantic or they're friendly or they're business partners. Wherever this is showing up for you in your chart, we need to find people who are truly like-minded and align with our new ideals, who we are now. And those things change over time. So we may be finding that we have some relationships in our life that no longer share common goals, that no longer really reflect the people that we have become. Whatever this means, with Pluto there, it's going to be transformative in some way. The sun moves from the visionary Aquarius into the dreamy Pisces on February 18th. And with the sun here, we've got a lot of planets in Pisces and a lot of planets in Aquarius now. It's taking up most of the sky. And so we may be more interested in dreaming and visioning and wanting to make big changes or wanting to create new things, really wanting to connect to the higher mind, to source, to God. All of those kinds of topics are going to be highlighted now. And one of the things we want to watch out for with Pisces energy is always infusing a little bit of Virgo. Because remember, all the signs are pairs, right? So if Pisces, who wants to take in everything, right, takes in too much, maybe you're a Pisces who's experienced this yourself, it's easy to get burnt out. And when we get burnt out, we want to check out, right? We want to self-soothe. And typically we're going to choose ways that are not so great for us. And that's where some of these addictive and escapist qualities can come from when we're talking about Pisces. So make sure you use some Virgo discernment coming up, because there's a lot of things pulling at our attention. And Saturn here can be really, really helpful in making some boundaries so that we stay in our lane and don't get overly distracted by all the things that are pulling at us. On the 21st, going back to Venus, Venus is going to catch up. She's speeding up. And so she's going to conjunct Mars. The two of them together in the sky marks a new cycle. in our relationships to ourselves and to others. And there's a lot to unpack in this particular transit. So we're going to look at two particular things here. Now, first of all, if you remember all the way back to 2022, March the 5th specifically, Venus and Mars met up at 0 degrees Aquarius. So 0 is the start of any cycle, right? So this was a beginning of a beginning. And at that time in 2022, the nodes were in Taurus and Scorpio. Taurus was the north node and Scorpio was the south node. So at that time, Venus was ruling the north node, the energy that we were growing into. Mars was ruling the south node, some of the energies we were leaving behind. Fast forward to now, it's flipped, right? We have Aries as the north node. So now Mars is showing us what we need to grow into. Venus is ruling the south node of Libra, showing us what we need to let go of. So if you think back over this 2-year cycle, there's going to be a lot of clues in there for what it means for you in terms of, again, how you relate to yourself and others, because there's a lot of energy being pushed in this direction. The second part is there was a T-square in January with the full moon in Leo. So we had the moon in Leo, the sun in Aquarius, and it was square to Jupiter. When Venus and Mars meet up, they'll be opposing a moon in Leo also and square to Jupiter. So there's something in this echoing of energy that the cosmos is trying to bring our attention to. So if you look back to the new moon in Leo, that's some clues. If you look back even further, March 5th, 2022, we can see that there's a story that's been unfolding in our own personal lives. So you're going to look at those houses, that would be Aquarius, Leo, and Taurus, for more information. Mercury enters Pisces on the 22nd. And while Mercury is in Pisces, we may find that words, communications, putting together our logical sentences, so to speak, get a little elusive, right? Pisces tends to diffuse the rational and logical side of Mercury. And it tends to embolden or bring our attention towards the more what we consider right brain function, which is being creative, meditation, tapping into the muse, those kinds of things. So pay extra attention to your dreams or anything that's coming up. Maybe it's coming up in songs, maybe it's coming up for you while you're dancing. Whatever it is, you want to engage with Mercury on a different level at this time. You'll get a lot more done. You'll get a lot more messages coming through to you when you engage with this energy in a slightly different way. One more note about Mercury in Pisces, just like when the sun was in there, right? We want to use some Virgo here. We want to be discerning about what we're taking in. And so with Mercury here, we want to be clear about what information we're taking in and from whom, because it can be really exhausting and overwhelming, especially in the culture and the society we have now that seems to never stop talking, right? Everyone has an opinion about everything, and we're being bombarded with it day after day after day. So you may find that you need extra quiet time, extra help quieting your own mind. So take some time out and do some nice self-care during this transit. All right, February's full moon in Virgo. So that's going to happen on the 24th of February. And this full moon also brings back a cycle from 2023. If we remember to September, there was something that we were harvesting at that time, something that was being brought in. And now that cycle is coming to a close. So whenever we're talking about Pisces and Virgo, we're talking about some healing. We're talking about closings. We're talking about transitions here. And we're talking about them on multiple levels, because Pisces and Virgo reminds us of as above, so below, as within, so without. There's a totality, there's a unity here between these two signs, and they express it in their own way. So whatever it is that you've been working on, it's coming to its end. Okay, look to the Virgo and Pisces areas of your chart for more clues there. And if you've been finding yourself in more of a cocoon season of your life, it may be time to start wrapping that up, right? Getting ready to get ready for what comes next, which would be Aries and a start of a new cycle, a start of something beginning. So take a look at that. At the end of the month, we have a big stellium in Pisces On the 27th of February, we've got the Sun and Mercury and Saturn all together conjunct at 9 degrees. Now, all three of these planets will also be, of course, co-present with Neptune, who's sitting direct at 26 Pisces. And that's a lot of Pisces energy. So this can be a time period where we feel like we're in a little bit of limbo. It can feel like the veil between worlds is thinner than ever. And for some people, that's a very welcome experience. They're going to love that. They're going to relish in it, right? And just really feel this extra connection to the higher realms. And for other people, this may feel a little frightening or isolating or scary. Okay. Either way, do some self-care. Remember your Virgo. Okay, I keep bringing up Virgo for a reason because this is a lot of energy. There's a lot going on in the world in general that's pulling at us, that's asking us to change, that's challenging our concepts of reality, what we thought reality is. And so it can be easy to get lost at that point, or it can be easy to feel kind of despondent, right? A little depressed. And so we want to make sure that we're doing some Virgo, some self-care, some grounding, some healing, remembering discernment. Remember I said about those other planets, making sure you're being aware of what you're taking in, because this time period will be, I think, pretty intense. Either way, it is a transit. It will move. Okay. So whether you're enjoying it or not, remember that all these transits are temporary, but we're trying to take what we can and make the most of them, right? And the very end of the month, this year, 2024, is a leap year. So we will have a February 29th. Happy birthday. Shout out to all my February 29th souls who are celebrating their day of birth this year. Let me know in the comments below if you are a leap year baby. I feel like it's a nice moment to also take a second and hopefully clear up a little bit of confusion around this phenomenon of being born on the cusp. Because with a leap year, the ingress and egress dates, meaning when the planets move in and out, they're going to change a little bit. And for most of us, we've been pretty used to sun sign astrology, right? It's been very prominent for decades now. And so we tend to get a little caught up in the movement of the sun and a little maybe attached to its placement. And this is a bigger topic in general, but for convenience, a long time ago, when people were writing about astrology, they didn't necessarily adjust their dates because they do fluctuate. If you actually look year to year, right, and particularly over 4 years, the start and end dates are slightly different. So this term, born on the cusp, right, kind of began. And you're never going to have your sun in two signs. Okay. It doesn't magically change from one year to another. It is where it is. So you're going to want to look at your own chart and see the degree of the sun. It's going to be at 29 or it's going to be at 0, but it's not going to be both. Okay. So you're going to have your sun in one sign or the other. Now, there may be many reasons why you do not resonate with your sun sign. And taking a deeper look at your full astrology chart can give you a lot of clues as to why that might be. In rare cases, if you were born on the day that the sun changed signs and your time of birth was different, right, than what you thought it was or what you were told it was, that could mean that you are, in fact, a different sign than you thought. But that's pretty rare. For everybody else, sorry, you don't get your sun in two signs. You don't have a double sun. So thought I would share. Anyway, that's February of 2024. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was illuminating, and I am wishing you the best month. Until next time, take care. Bye.